welcome to this episode of the Empowered by UMortgage Podcast. I am joined by my friend and one of our amazing sales leaders within UMortgage, Kim Butler. Kim actually runs our Level Up Sales Coaching Program with Sam at UMortgage. And I'm telling you, I've been in this industry for a long, long time. I have never seen a more amazing coaching program that is delivered to all levels of the organization, whether you are a top producer or brand new in the industry. I've got a ton of questions and everything to go over with Kim, but she is just doing so many good things at UMortgage, and I'm really excited to talk to you today, Kim. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm super excited to talk to you too.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I've been a Level Up fan since the very, very beginning, because every single high producing, overachieving professional that I've ever come into contact with, no matter if they're an athlete or a salesperson or whatever, they have a coach. Every single person.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's what I love about coaching. Like, that's part of why I even got into coaching in the first place, was because I really believe that people have untapped potential, and I want to see that, help them see that, and help them just continue to grow, to reach that potential and continue to pursue even higher levels of what that could be for their life and career. So yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, and I don't think that you ever really stop growing and stop changing and reevaluating your business if you're interested in that. I mean, not everybody wants to grow, but no matter what level of success I've ever achieved in my business or my life, I always want to get feedback as to how I can do things better, as to how I can change, as to what others see that I need to do to adapt and grow. And without being open and asking those questions, like, you're really just limiting yourself. And that's not what we're about here.
Yeah, absolutely. That is the antithesis of all of the values here at UMortgage. Yeah, no, you're right. And I mean, I'm a nerd and a goal nerd. And so I just have seen, like, the few things, it actually isn't that complicated when you look at people who are successful versus people who, quote unquote, aren't successful at achieving their goals. It boils down to pretty few simple things. And the biggest difference maker is accountability.
Totally.
There are incredible programs. There are incredible things. Level Up, Sam has developed, and the team here has developed such an incredible program. But at the end of the day, it's doing the work, right? And it's having someone hold you accountable, right? Sometimes I think about coaching as being someone who holds the mirror up to someone and being like, hey, this is what I see, and this is what you should see. And we have to keep moving forward and reminding each other of what the goals are and where we're going, and having that outside perspective
for sure
of how to do that and remove some of the emotion of it to some degree.
Well, and one of the most interesting things that I love about what you guys are doing and what we're doing as a company, it's like, so many sales organizations focus on leaderboards when it comes to the sense of outcomes, like this top producer, this, these big numbers. But we've really turned that on its head at UMortgage, because we know that if we track activities and we highlight and reward activities, that the outcomes will happen. It's a matter of consistently doing the right things at a high level and taking enough action every single day, doing the right things. And we give that framework, because in 30, 60, 90 days, you will see the outcome. So we've totally done that differently. And I love it, because it gives people that are genuinely trying to grow and get on those lock leaderboards and those funding leaderboards, it gives them that accountability, but then also that spotlight to go, oh my gosh, these people are consistently doing what it takes to get to this next level.
Yeah. I love it. I think that when you focus on the things you can control, right?
You
are a lot more likely to, one, just keep going, because the goal, yes, obviously the outcomes do have a huge impact on what we're trying to do, and paying the bills and all the things.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, you can't control a lot of the factors that go into, there are a lot of other people involved. And as much as we all would love to control all of our circumstances, that's just not life. But if you really do, Sam does the sales math with everybody. If you reverse engineer what outcomes you want to be, and you look at the numbers, right? And you just back that up and go, okay, what can I control to give myself the best chance of those outcomes? Totally. The market's going to do what
you can't control market. You can't control interest rates. You can't control, there's so much that we can't control, and that can really impact your mindset negatively, which is such a huge part of what we can control. But if we just pay attention to those things, and we're constantly focused on sales activities, whether it's, breaking everything down, or I'm going to do this for the next hour. Like, I'm going to focus on these activities and get these goals. I really look at what you guys are coaching in terms of like the +1, +2, +10 mentality. Like, if I go, oh my gosh, I am just about ready to wrap up for the day, but guess what? I've got 30 more minutes. If I just made 5 more sales calls, if I did that every day, what outcome would that have for me over 30, 60, 90 days? And just that mindset and that mentality, and knowing that I can control making 5 more phone calls, even if it's on my commute home, like those activities, that's going to turn into a paycheck for me very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's that mindset of going, I'm not going to focus on the places that I can't control, because that's when we get in that fixed mindset place where I can't do anything about it. And we get discouraged. And when we get discouraged, we tend to, falter on doing the things that we can control, because they feel pointless. They feel like they're not paying off the way that we want to.
Overwhelm, frustration,
all of those
anxiety.
Things. And then we end up being in what I've learned is called the loan officer roller coaster, right? Yeah. And we don't know why. And that gets frustrating.
Yeah.
But when we can maintain consistent levels in our sales activity over time, that's going to turn into the averages that we want to produce the results that we want. But if we're constantly going, oh, I need this result, and this month was a fluke month for whatever, a million circumstances you maybe couldn't control. Okay, but if you did the activities consistently over time, it is a win. And then if there is a problem, if you've done the activities consistently, we can see with accurate data where the activity is breaking down, and where we can come in and support you with coaching, with specific strategies, with specific help to bolster your business. That's tactical. Exactly. To help you adjust, because that's going to happen too. We're going to make mistakes. We might not be as good at one particular area or another, but when
overcoming objections, or having too much information or not enough information, or whatever that is. But unless you have enough at bats to know how to adjust your swing, like, you don't want to just start making adjustments to your swing unless you get up there and do it enough that you go, I see what she's doing. I see how, as her coach, I can say, you know what? Stand back a little bit, try this, let's rearrange your grip on this. So it's like, you have to have enough at bats. You have to have enough data in the activity before you start making adjustments. You just might not be putting in enough of the time. You just might not be getting up there enough.
Yeah. And we can very easily trick ourselves into thinking that we're doing work.
Oh, that's so true.
That actually is moving towards our goals, and it's not. We're just doing busy work that is not moving the needle. But when we track, when we have accurate data, we can see that, and you can see it quickly. And so when you see it quickly, you can make adjustments quickly. But to your point, and I so appreciate the baseball metaphor. I'm a Braves fan.
We're going back to your roots. We're going to talk about that, because I love this. But just really quick on your point about that, it's like, I could sit at my desk all day long and feverishly just move the pens around and the paper and the books and all the things, like, for 8 hours a day, and just look like I am just busy and I am just crushing it. But at the end of the day, if the same crap is still on my desk, it's just been reorganized a bunch of different ways, a bunch of different times. Did I accomplish anything? To your point, did I move the needle? And the answer is no, I did not. But in order to actually get to that level of analysis and adapting our business, we've got to track the information first so that we can have accuracy in the adjustments that we are making. So we're not just adjusting frivolously and wasting time.
Which is also a huge reason I love what UMortgage is doing. Like providing so many resources available to everyone.
I have
to be
never
able to
seen
do that. Yeah.
No, I have never seen. And the thing that I love about UMortgage and love about Level Up specifically is I have been in plenty of sales organizations who focus, who invest in, and who tailor opportunity for the top 10 to 20% of the organization, which is great. Like I've definitely benefited from that type of an environment, but to be collaborating with a group of people who are heavily investing in and leaning into every single person in the organization, regardless of where they have started, to say, hey, listen, if you want to grow, if you want to build your career with UMortgage, we are going to invest in you, whether you're brand new to the industry, whether you've never closed a loan in your life, or whether you're Pat and Gade closing 50 transactions a month. Like, we believe in you and we are investing in you for everyone, not just for the best of the best. And that is highly unique.
Yeah, it really is incredible the amount that UMortgage pours into every person at the company, much less the salespeople. Salespeople are out there doing the thing, on the boots on the ground, but and the way that they support, the way that the internal team supports, but then the way that the internal team is supported too. I mean, it really is an amazing company that's providing just an insane amount of resources to be able to do this, right? To be able to track
believe.
So that you can get the data, so that you can make the corrections. There's coaching available. There's resourcing available. There's daily sales huddles every day. That is more things that you could ever apply probably in your career.
It's so true. And if you just plug into a few of the things, and you just nailed my two favorites, like by far, my favorite thing are the daily sales huddles. I am on almost every single day. They're so valuable. There's so much information. When Jay Bunty is getting on doing, a 30-minute meeting, a 30-minute training with everybody today with Jenny Finn on the operations process. I mean, it's like, trust me, he is producing crazy units and he is going out there and like crushing it. But to take time to invest in all of us is like, it's unheard of. And that was just today.
Yeah, I know. One day and you've already gotten a whole week's worth of information and training and coaching. It's great.
I love it. Well, you have an athletics background, and I would love to share a little bit of your story because I think it's amazing. And I think that it's interesting to find out like why people, how they sort of got into this mortgage business and sort of just the path that you took with your background to find yourself here. Like, tell us a little bit more about your background and why you're a coach and how this kind of came about.
Yeah, well, the short story is Sean Grapevine.
Right? Like, favorite humans.
He's great. Sean is great, and Sean got me here. So my background, just general business was kind of the original post, college track that I was on.
Yeah.
Actually started in property management, and ended up, in college, I guess that's really where it started. I was on the crew team. So I was a rower in college and ended up being, yes, it's actually 80% legs. Shocking.
Really? Okay. All right.
It's all upper body, but it's all in the legs.
I like it.
And yeah, I loved it. I fell in love with the sport. My senior year, I ended up being the coxswain for the freshman team, which is the person who steers the boat and makes all the calls and yells all the things. And essentially at my school, it was like, if you're the coxswain, you're the coach. And so I became the coach for this freshman group of 4 women. And we, they trained really hard. And I fell in love with coaching. And what I fell in love with about coaching is when you are able to meet someone with a practical need, whatever it is, whether it's helping you train for a sport or helping you with business or helping you with life, or birth, all of which are coaching things I have done. I'm a certified doula. I am also
no way.
I'll coach
so cool.
anything. I feel like I need to there's this thing, this is so sidebar, but there's this thing called a death doula. And part of me just thinks, oh, I should just get that so that I have literally been certified in every kind of coaching there is. That's a total tangent.
That is so true. And that, I mean, like that kind of leadership and that kind of wisdom and that kind of like, let's get there and let's get there successfully together. Like that takes a special kind of human and a special like background and foundation. And it's really powerful because you're changing lives and you're doing it together.
Thank you. That's really sweet. Yeah. I mean, so kind of to circle back so I had this group of 4 girls, and what I realized, what I loved about coaching before I went on my tangent, was that I had this practical way that I was helping them. Mm-hmm. They had a goal. I was helping them meet their goal, but it gave me a place of trust in the more important places in their life. And as those relationships developed, I was able to help them more holistically in places in their life. And that's what I felt was like this practical thing that, for lack of a better word, sort of gave me this bridge to their heart and their life. And then, I moved into, long story, was in property management, ended up on the mission field for a year, came back from that, and over the course of a year, ended up starting my own coaching company, and was doing sort of I had built a hybrid program of a life and business coach where I was coaching creative entrepreneurs. And cool. I met Sean in our community, but he and I worked together when he was doing some stuff several years ago, and he had hired me as his coach for a couple of things. And so we walked through that, and then
here you are.
Yeah. And then here I am. Yeah. Then he eventually recruited me after, being self-employed, working for myself. He brought me over. And so, yeah, it was an unexpected twist in my career and my story. Mm-hmm. But it's been really cool to just be involved in coaching, in a corporate setting, in a totally different setting than I come from. But again, I kind of just, everything to me when you're coaching, and that, that's something I love about UMortgage, like the relationships over transactions. Like, yes, that's about, like, we can apply that to sales and we can see how that applies pretty practically.
Sure.
But it's also true in terms of like me, like for me, I'm sure, I'm helping with the coaching program. Ultimately, the goal is to drive sales and revenue and all of that stuff. But first, it's about the person. The person is more important than the transaction. And so
you totally hit on a concept that's so important. And I kind of want to go back to it because I think it's really what makes what we're doing at UMortgage so unique. I've experienced a lot of different coaching programs and they're all similar, right? I mean, it's not really rocket science. I mean, we're like, call this many people and do this many things. And we've got theme days and we've got this and we've got that. But to really hit on the heart of the person and to understand what motivates and what drives people and what they need to feel seen, heard, valued, invested in to thrive. And starting to really peel back some of those layers and not just drive so hard on these things, but really assess, talk about, analyze, get to the root of these other things that are not tangible. That's where the real magic is. And that's why what we are doing at UMortgage is so different because it has to come from there. Like, you can tell somebody, what the hell's wrong with you? You just need to make 40 calls a day. But like, if there are other things going on that need to be addressed and solved for and analyzed and comforted and talked about and figured out first, so that you can clear some of those obstacles and really get to like the why. Like that's where true change and true development and growth, that's where it comes from, right? Like
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, like we mentioned earlier, there's really a few things, right? It's simple. Simple is never easy. It's so simple to be like, oh, I know what I need. I know how to prioritize, but I've made a career because people do not do what they know they should do, right?
Yeah.
And it really is realizing, oh, there's actually a person behind that. Not to go too deep, but like there's usually
I love it. Let's go there.
There's pain behind that, and there's a reason why we don't do the things that we know that we should do. Fear is often involved. And when you approach something as like, let's just from the perspective of like training, right? Yeah. Training is great. I love the training. All the training, more the better. But when you just approach something like, let me read this self-help book and apply it, or let me go to this training and apply it. Everything is going to be a short-term fix if you are not, if you run into the pain and then you back out, right? Most of the things that people do, and this is one conversation that I have had probably more than any conversation with students in Level Up, with clients I've worked with before, across with my friends. You will, cut this. I'm edit this really quick. I just lost my train of thought.
No, well, when you're working with people, if when you go up to the fear, or you go up to the pain, or you go up to the, like something is stopping them from achieving whatever it is that you know that they're capable of. Like you have to go through that, but you have to acknowledge it and talk about it, and to have a safe space with a professional coaching organization at your job is so totally different and so special, because like you said, there's a person behind all of these challenges. And when you realize that, and then you go, listen, part of what makes us special is we're going to talk about those things. And guess what? If you're not a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit nervous or a little bit afraid of whatever it is that you're trying to do, then you've just gotten complacent and you're not growing either.
Yeah, so it's probably not a good enough goal if it doesn't scare you a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. It's got to be like a reach. And the other thing, we just came back from AIM Fuse last week, and one thing that was like really powerful that we talked about was, regardless of what you're doing, you're saying yes to something and no to something else.
Yeah.
So no matter what, whether it's like, oh, I just wasted 2 hours of my day on TikTok, so I didn't do X, Y, and Z that I needed to do. Well, you said yes to this and no to this other thing. So whatever it is, like just being really aware of like that part of your business process, and that part of, hey, we're all humans. We're all saying yes and no to things all day long, but having the opportunity in our professional environment to like work with you and say, Kim, I didn't do my sales activities today. I'm really struggling and I don't know why. Can you please help me? And then having a sounding board, a person like you and Sam and all the other coaches and leaders that can say, yeah, let's talk about it. Like, let's figure it out. I mean, how much of your day do you find you're doing stuff like that? Maybe even above any other thing that is like part of your job.
Honestly, it's my favorite part of most of my days is just, okay, let's dig in. Let's figure out what's really going on. And again, to go back to my point, it's often pretty simple. And to repeat it again, simple is not easy. And that is, but because it's simple, people feel like it should be easy, and then they give up too quickly. And so that's what I was saying earlier. Like when I talk to my friends, when I talk to my clients, when I talk to all the students, or really anyone, there are all of these things. They're like, oh, I can tell you a practical solution.
Yeah.
But I need you to commit to that practical solution, no matter how uncomfortable it is, for at least 21 days. And I always tell people, like, hey, if we're going to come up with a solution, it's going to be simple. It's usually about time management, to be quite frank. I'll say, okay, we need to make a plan. Take a few days to nail the plan down. Do what you need to do. Think about it. But then commit to it for 21 days because it is going to feel uncomfortable. Almost anything that is good for you will feel uncomfortable at first.
Yeah.
Your brain is on a 21-day cycle. So you need to give your brain at least a full cycle to get through it, to get through that discomfort, to actually go, okay, how is this really working?
Yeah.
And then this is my process with anything. I just say, okay, at 21 days, at 3 weeks, you can make adjustments. Go ahead, like analyze. If you didn't like this particular thing, go ahead, shift it, make another. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. And then commit to that and finish that out for 90 days.
Yeah.
Because while your brain is on a 21-day cycle, it actually takes 3 full cycles to change a neural pathway, which is neuroscience nerd.
Yeah, I love it.
The way that you change habits, right? Like people always, the like old adage of it takes 21 days to change a habit.
Mm-hmm.
Semi-true, right? It takes 21 days to get through a full brain cycle, which if we had more time, I'd go into dendrites and cells and how it all works. But you have natural tendencies. You have automatic thoughts that you think because you've thought them your whole life. When you have automatic actions that you do, some good, some bad.
Yeah.
And then especially when it comes to things like sales activities, like the practical good things that are going to help us move our business forward, move us towards our goals, whatever those are. Fear and all these other things that tend to get uncovered through coaching.
Yeah.
Right. Those things will come up as soon as we commit to something that's good, healthy, helping us achieve our goals. We get in, we're 3 days in, and we're like, I don't love waking up early.
Well, your brain wants to take you back to the comfort zone because that is where
that's automatic.
Feel safe. And it's like, listen, you're not getting chased by a saber-toothed tiger here. Like, if a realtor tells you to pound sand because you're not going to die. Like, but your brain thinks that you might. So your brain's like, oh no, like go back to the safe zone where we've been living in comfort and not in fear for the last. So our reptilian brains think we're trying to stay alive. And so it's complicated. Are there any tactical things that we could do if we're trying to make changes and trying to implement new strategies when we feel that reptilian brain saying, oh no, you should just watch TikTok longer. That's way safer than making those sales calls, Kahren. What can I do in that moment to change?
Yeah. I mean, not to be whatever the word is I'm looking for, but join Level Up.
For sure.
I guess the answer to that is, to me, the step 1 is find a form of accountability. Because if you need to make a commitment, and whatever that commitment is, it is going to be challenging to do. And if you just own that, don't lie to yourself and be like, it's going to be so easy, I can totally do it. Just own the fact that it's going to be hard, make the commitment to whatever that is, and then tell someone and ask them to hold you accountable. Send in your report to your peer, tell your spouse that if you don't do this, they need to ask you about it by 6 p.m.
Well, and that's with our, with Level Up, it's I might let myself down, but I'm not letting Tanner down. I'm not letting David down. I'm not letting you down. And it's just human nature. Yeah. And I think that's what I've appreciated so much about Level Up. And I'm so excited about this next semester. And I know we don't have a ton of time, but it starts October 7th. So hopefully everybody is getting registered. And if you're a loan officer and you're not with UMortgage and you don't have a coaching program that is accessible to you, consider reaching out to one of us, because we are so proud of everything that we're doing. You and Sam have just done such an incredible job. And we are really putting people into groups based on where they are in their current profession. So if you are a brand new loan officer, you're going to be in a Level Up coaching group with other brand new loan officers. So you're not going to be overshadowed or feel uncomfortable sharing things that you are struggling with or worried about or going through because, this person that's doing, is at a totally different stage of their career is not going through that. It's so awesome to be matched up in that way. because people need to be seen and heard and have, a safe space to really be vulnerable. And that's also what I see. Like, we have had some incredibly intense moments in coaching where people are vulnerable and they are feeling like they're reaching out, and there's an incredible amount of trust that's built within these groups. Another thing that I really love about it is oftentimes we're kind of stuck in these microcosms where it's like, you're working from home, you're feeling a little bit isolated, or, you don't have, like, maybe you don't even have a branch that you go to every day or other coworkers that you can connect with. And it's so powerful to have relationships and connections with other originators across the country. I mean, people that are there to support you, and you can kind of go through these like, hey, I'm struggling with this. And I bet that 9 times out of 10, you are not the only person in that coaching session that has that question or that problem or that fear. And it's a really supportive place to just come and grow. And I benefit from it every single week. In fact, the week before I went to EmpowHERed to do the presentation at the WMN Summit, we went through an episode during coaching with Sam, or, went through an exercise, not an episode. And I shared part of that episode as part. Why do I keep saying episode? Part of
it was a video.
Right, exactly. I shared that with all the women at the WMN Summit. So we went through a very similar exercise, and it was just so awesome to see that really play out and help people on like a big stage because of something great that I learned, from Sam through through our coaching program that I have access to. So I just really appreciate what you guys are doing for everyone. And you guys work so hard, and it's different every semester, and you're always reinventing yourselves and building on, the success, and like the proof's in the numbers. People that are involved in level up sales coaching perform better, do better, have more successful outcomes than those that don't. And that's just the bottom line. It's working.
Yeah. It's what the data says. So. No, it's something that's been really incredible. Sam has built such an amazing program. We're really excited about this semester, and just the tweaks that we're making to just keep getting better, and leveling up on our end as well. And so we're just excited to help people move forward towards their goals. That's really at the end of the day what it's about, helping people move towards achieving their goals.
Well, you've helped me personally and professionally, and you've helped a ton of my team. And I just really thank you guys for all the hard work that you put into it and the commitment. And thank you for coming on today. I think that was really awesome to be able to share something that we're really, really proud of as a company. So I appreciate you, and I can't wait for Level Up to start on October 7th.
Me too. Thanks for having me. This has been so fun.
Right on, Kim. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon.